name is Seth Perler. I'm an executive function coach based out of Colorado, and I help struggling students navigate this thing called education so they can have a great life. And this video is about Bernie and Biden. Tomorrow is March 10th. Tomorrow, during the primaries, we got Bernie and Biden in a close race. Biden's ahead right now. I believe in my heart that Bernie is the best thing for kids and for our future and for the future of our children in this country. I'm going to tell you why I believe that. Um, First of all, my life has been dedicated, quite literally, to the service of kids for over 20 years. Almost everything I do revolves around serving kids in some way. I believe I was put here on earth to do this. I struggled as a kid. I'm very lucky to be here today because of how I struggled with learning challenges and other challenges. And now I have a fantastic life because I got the support I needed. And our neurodiverse kids, kids who don't fit in the box, if they don't get the support, and this is no joke, people, if they don't get the support that they need, they are at risk of not having a happy, healthy, and successful future where they can pay their bills, where they can have great family lives, great relationships, great mental health, great educational experiences, great career, where they're doing something that matters to them, that's purposeful to them, that utilizes their strengths and their talents and their interests. These neurodiverse kids don't fit in the box. They need the right support, and we drop the ball. Our country is it's so bad, people. It's so bad. It's just disgusting to me. It's shameful. I don't talk about this a lot, but it just astounds me that in 2020 we are spending 700 billion a year on military, 70 billion a year, 1/10, 70 billion a year on education. Shows you what we value. Um, and I want our kids to be growing up in a world that values them, that invests in them, that gives a crap about them and their future, and really giving them what they need, not cutting funding to education and cutting everything. And just it's so bad, and it's just disgusting to me. And again, I don't talk about this a lot, but it, it is what my life is dedicated to, and it hurts my soul to know that we are doing such a weird, not doing right by our kids. So I'm going to talk about Bernie for a few minutes and why. I don't know if this will make any difference for any of you, but if you're on the fence about any of it, we're in a close race. Biden's in the lead. Tomorrow's March 10th, primaries, and it's probably the make it or break it day. So this is the last chance to make your voice heard for who you support. I'm going to tell you why I support Bernie, and if that impacts anybody, great. And again, I do this in the service of kids. Statistically speaking, I'm over halfway through my life. I'm going to be fine. The earth isn't going to fall apart while I'm here. You know, I've got a good career. I've got a good life. Um, I am concerned about the future for these kids. This video is dedicated to them. This is for them. Meanwhile, I do a ton. I'm a big nerd, big geek. One of the things I'm geeking about for the last few years is politics, and I really examine objective news sources to get my information, and I geek out and nerd out like crazy on this stuff. So you can bet that this is well researched. Anyhow, Bernie, first of all, number one, has been fighting for people for a long time. His record is tremendous. There's no ego in it. He's not trying to look cool. He's not trying to look strong. He's not trying to look amazing. He's not corrupt. He is somebody who just fights for people with integrity. In fighting for people and in fighting for what he believes in, he also doesn't take sucker punches and cheap political jabs at people, which I really respect because there's so much of this pettiness and name calling, and he doesn't stoop down to that level. Unfortunately, people like sensationalism. People listen to that. The establishment loves it, and corporate news loves it. So, but anyhow, I really appreciate how he just, with integrity, fights for the common person. Two, he's kind. He's empathetic. He's compassionate. He's present with people. So I want someone in the White House who shows kindness and compassion and caring. I want leadership that teaches that to our youth through their example. That is very important to me. Universal health care. Of course, the 1% is going to fight universal health care. Of course, the establishment is going to fight universal health care. Of course, you're going to hear all kinds of people saying, oh, we can't do that, blah, 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 all type. I don't care. I want the kids that I work with and the kids that are growing up in this country to have fantastic health care and to have it be a non issue. There is no reason it should be an issue. These kids should not have to worry about it. All the kids that I work with in every school, all the kids that I've ever worked with, should be able to live in 2020 in a world where they don't have to worry about their health care. Enough said. Green New Deal. I want a planet for these kids. We have taken horrific care. My generation, my parents' generation, their parents' generation, we have treated Mother Earth as if it's just something just to be taken from, just used. This earth provides us with everything we need for life. I'm a spiritual person. I believe that the earth is a spiritual part of our spiritual being. This is part of my belief, but that we are all connected. We are interconnected. And I want our kids to have a healthy, sustainable earth to live in where we treat it with respect. So the Green New Deal. And of course, you're going to get resistance, just like with the healthcare industries. You're going to get resistance from the fossil fuel industries, and anybody who profits, and the 1%, and anybody who's making money off it, they're going to resist this like crazy. College for all. I don't. There's so much corruption in college that people make no mistake. Make no mistake. College is a business. People are profiting. They don't want that to change. They're going to pose every argument against this. I don't care. I want all of my students to have the opportunity to go to college and get the education that they want and not have to worry. Housing for all. I want my students, because I am seeing more and more and more homeless people, more people struggling to make ends meet. Bernie wants housing for all, and I know that a lot of the students, neurodiverse students who struggle with executive function, are going to be the ones who struggle with housing. So I want the housing for all that Bernie talks about. Free childcare and free pre-kindergarten. Yes, yes, yes. The more Bernie is the only one that I've seen talking about this, that from age birth to 4, how important those formative years are. And Bernie wants free childcare and free pre-K, pre-kindergarten, preschool. Can you imagine if all kids got preschool? And can you imagine what a different world would be like, especially, and thank you to all the single moms out there that are struggling to make ends meet. I see a lot of you at my talks. I know a lot of you, and you guys are working so hard to be there for your kids. So can you imagine if there was free childcare, how much that would support human beings in being able to better support their kids? Bernie's reinvestment in public education, no brainer. Bernie's support for disability rights, LGBTQ rights, and for women's rights. Bernie has just consistently been somebody who has always fought for human rights. So that has always impressed me. And finally, a little bonus one. Bernie's true and deep honoring of Native Americans. I used to live on the Navajo Indian Reservation, and I used to teach on the Navajo Indian Reservation. And I love the Navajo people, and I fell in love with the culture, and Native Americans' rights and the Native American issues are very important to my heart. So I just love that he values that, and that he puts it in writing on his site as one of the issues that he covers. So anyhow, those are some reasons that I think Bernie is way more suited than Biden to do this. Now, the thing that I want to address here at this moment is this. One of the biggest problems is that Bernie doesn't take cheap shots at people. and I respect that. But all the other establishment politicians are. And there's so much power in the establishment, and the news, the corporate news, is not objective. And they have undercovered, meaning they have not covered Bernie's successes fairly. They have overemphasized anything that they can find negative or tilt negatively about Bernie. So you have to understand, or at least I have to understand. I work very hard to understand that people are profiting. The corporate news is a business. It's big, 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 big money. They do not want somebody in the White House who is going to threaten their bottom line. And same thing with any of the issues that I mentioned. Big money does not want anyone to threaten them, and Bernie is a threat. And they will make him look as bad as they possibly can. So I really encourage you to look at his site, BernieSanders.com. Look at the issues before tomorrow, March 10th. Make your own decisions. Try to be objective. Try to not think personality. Try to think facts. Try to think what would your kid's future look like in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years, and what would their life look like in 20 years or 30 years if we go down one path rather than another path in terms of these two people. I personally think that Bernie is special. And what I mean by that is he's really a one of a kind. He's the underdog, but he is out there. If there's anything crazy about him, he is crazy passionate about helping human beings have fantastic lives and fighting for everything. Yes, 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 yes. He will be, it will be very difficult for him to get things through. They will block him at every corner, yada, yada, yada. But Bernie's the beginning, not the end, meaning that he's going to be, which he has done already, but he's going to be saying things and putting things in motion that are going to have a very positive domino effect, in my opinion, for many years to come. So, people are going to say things about electability. I don't buy it. There's no way in the world, and that's corporate news. But there's no way in the world that I believe that Biden is more electable than Bernie. I think that they're just ridiculous arguments. But we have these people these personalities on TV who seem to be authorities who say their opinions, but they're bought. They're bought oftentimes. Um, People say our country will never elect a socialist. Um, I People will say, and there are all these arguments. Um, so anyhow, I don't care, and I don't care about half measures. I don't care about Biden in and going and being moderate and doing well enough. And I don't think that what Bernie is saying is progressive in any sort of negative way at all. I think it is normal. Um, I want for our children, for them to have the best possible opportunity to have healthy, happy, successful futures in life. And this is who I deeply believe is most capable of doing that. All right, my friends. Again, my name is Seth Pro. I'm an executive function coach based out of Colorado. My life is dedicated to serving kids and helping struggling students navigate this thing called education so that they can have a fantastic future, a life built on service that utilizes their own strengths, talents, passions, gifts, and that they're doing careers that are meaningful to them, purposeful to them, valuable to them, where they're giving back to the world, but they're also getting what they need to live a good life. They can cover their bills, they can have great relationships, great mental health, great careers, and a great life. There's no reason in 2020 why we can't do this. There just isn't. There are enough resources. There's everything we need. So people don't have to be having the struggles that they're having if we support people better. And I believe that Bernie will help us do that. Have a fantastic day. I will see you soon.